Hey everyone, welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan, and I have to apologize first for the lack of content that's been on this feed lately, but don't worry about it because we're going to get a lot of challenge coming our way as we just found out today through two announcements that we are getting two challenge spinoffs. Actually, we're getting 5 challenge spinoffs, but it came via 2 announcements. Let's jump into the first one, and that's the easier announcement, the one that's easier to talk about, and that is Challenge All Stars Season 3 has a premiere date. It'll be coming out May 11th. Fresh off a strong Season 2 ending, we're getting a new Challenge All Stars season, and you may or may not have seen the cast already. Maybe don't try to dig too hard online because I don't want you to see any spoilers, but if you've seen the cast, you know that we're getting maybe the strongest male cast in Challenge history on an All Star season. We have a female cast where we're bringing in a lot of old names we haven't seen before, or haven't seen in a long time, or some newer names of some fresh blood that people might say are not OGs, but they're definitely going to add some spice and some vigor to the show. I'm super excited for Challenge All-Star Season 3. The first 2 Challenge All-Star seasons have been phenomenal, and so I'm not expecting anything less. And maybe that's a bit too optimistic of me, but I want to be optimistic because I care a lot about the challenge. I'm passionate about it. And we've had so much bad stuff in these recent main seasons that Challenge All Stars, it makes me smile, it makes me laugh, it's good content, which leads me to our other announcement, and that is the other spin-off show, Challenge War of the Worlds. And you might hear that name and think to yourself, Allan, we already had Challenge War of the Worlds. We had Challenge War of the Worlds 2 even. Well, MTV, Paramount decided that they liked the name so much, they're using it to brand their new international competition spin-off show that will be airing on Paramount this summer. Now, initially, I was planning on posting the trailer for this new War of the Worlds spin-off within this video itself, but as I rewatched, I found it incredibly misleading to fans as 98% of it is highlights of past challenge seasons, which obviously you have to highlight the show that you're spinning off. But for longtime challenge fans, I'm sorry to break this news, there's no indication that actual MTV alumni will be competing on the spinoff, which has to be frustrating. A lot of people watch the challenge because they become invested in certain characters and they want to see them compete. They want to root for their favorites. It's as simple as that. So the fact to hear that there's going to be a new show with none of your favorites on it, that has to be heartbreaking. At the same time, I view it as Paramount, CBS, Viacom, whatever, trying to take the challenge branding and expand it to a wider audience, which could be healthier for the long-term livelihood of the franchise, especially as we don't have a real-world Road Rules, Are You the One type feeder show anymore. The challenge is still staying loyal to its roots with Challenge All-Star seasons and the Real World Homecomings, so we're kind of getting a best of both worlds, but you can tell the longtime passionate fans of the show prefer one over the other. It's like having a band that you're in love with suddenly become popular and mainstream, and they sell out and their music is completely different. And you don't know how to feel because you want to see your favorite succeed, but at what cost? It's tough. And your hope is that after they make some of these pop songs, at least when you go to their concert at the end, they're going to be playing their classic songs that you fell in love with. Maybe that's what the challenge is now. I'm not sure. I've always believed that at its baseline, the challenge formatting and style, at its worst, is still a pretty good television show. I would rather watch the worst challenge season over a normal Big Brother season. And I like Big Brother, but I think the challenge at its worst is still better than Big Brother. I think the challenge at its worst is still better than The Bachelor, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it's hard to see MTV move away from what made it so great. Well, not MTV, I guess Paramount move away from what made this original show so awesome with simplicity, but you have to evolve, you have to adapt. Some of it's not going to work. Sometimes you have to go back to the basics, but you got to at least try. Can't just let yourself die doing the same thing you've been doing. With all that out of the way, let's now talk about some crucial and key details you'll need to know if you plan on watching the Challenge War of the Worlds spinoffs in the US, UK, Australia, or Argentina, or if you want to watch all 4 like a crazy person, like I probably will. For starters, these 4 spinoffs will be appearing in the summer, hopefully right after Challenge All Stars 3 ends, and that way we have a good synergy and consistency with our challenge bellies filled all year long. After that, if you're in the US, this show will be appearing on Paramount Plus, but it will be appearing live weekly on CBS and not MTV, which For longtime MTV fans, that's a bit sad, but CBS is a more widely available network. It's in way more homes. And for once, the challenge gets to actually be competitive against something like Big Brother in the ratings. There are going to be so many new challenge fans from people just stumbling upon it. People are going to watch an episode, they're going to go on Paramount Plus, and they're going to binge 20 seasons right after. I just know it. So many new challenge fans are going to become created from it. Does it suck that we aren't going to have our MTV alumni on there? Obviously. But the half glass empty look at it is, imagine someone falling in love with this bootleg version of the challenge and then being able to go back and watch old seasons and fall in love with people like Coral, Wes, CT, DM, Bananas, Svetlana, Susie, Sarah, Cara Maria. There's this whole treasure trove of characters and people that you can fall in love with, and they'll get started by just watching this spin-off show. So it is a positive overall. And I'm excited because we still will have a main season on MTV for season 38, I assume. Again, it's healthier for the challenge as a whole and making sure it doesn't get canceled, which I'd be very sad if it got canceled. Now, if you live in the UK, the challenge will be appearing on Channel 5, which is a huge step up, as before, when they tried to introduce the challenge to the UK, even with UK challengers, it would air on MTV UK, which is a much smaller network. It'll have much more exposure in the UK and a better chance at gaining a new audience. The same goes for Argentina. It'll be on the Telefe channel, which is one of the major 6 networks, I believe, in Argentina. So again, a good chance at creating new fans. And then in Australia, it'll be appearing on the Channel 10 network, which again seems like a decently sized network based on the basic research I've done. And I have to say, Survivor Australia is a fantastic show. If you haven't watched it, go back and go on Paramount Plus and binge some seasons because it's fantastic programming. If the challenge version of Survivor Australia is half as good, then we're getting some good competitors and some good personalities out of there. Once all of the 4 spin-offs culminate individually, War of the Worlds has been touted as a 2-part event, meaning the best of each country will face off against each other. I'm not sure whether it will be in a full-fledged challenge season where they're all in the same house, or if it'll just be a massive final or battle royale where they compete against one another for the grand prize overall. I'm unsure of that, but I'm excited because they're experimenting with something different, which after 20 plus years, might as well try new stuff. Let's talk about some cast speculation though. The US version of the challenge CBS spinoff is apparently going to include CBS All Stars, which means people from Survivor, Big Brother, Love Island, and all their shows from over their 20 plus years of reality history. A few months ago, I'd heard a rumor, a very interesting rumor, that Parvati Shallow, a Survivor legend, had been contacted for a show that wasn't Survivor. I'd heard that Janelle Perzina, a Big Brother legend, had been contacted for a show that wasn't Big Brother related. So if we get some of the best Survivor/Big Brother personalities who over 10 years ago we were asking, wow, why don't they do the challenge? If we get them on this show, I mean, that's a dream come true. That's a reality all-star super show, which is what the challenge is at its best and its finest. And yeah, that'd be very exciting. Some names of CBS Survivor Big Brother competitors that I'd love to see on the challenge after all these years. Off the top of my head, there's Ozzy Luth, who is a fish in the ocean and one of the all-time Survivor Challenge competitors. There's Malcolm Freeberg, who is a former D1 college athlete, football player, who went to an Ivy League school. So he had brawn and brain and is a beast in the challenges themselves. I'd love to see Michelle, who we just saw in the most recent challenge season. Yeah, she was on the challenge, but at her core, she's a Survivor person. I'd like to see Michaela Bradshaw again. I'd like to see, from Big Brother, I'd love to see Janelle Perzina. I mean, she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She was great in challenges. I don't want to see Casey and I don't want to see Fessy. I've seen enough of them already. And my God, get the goof the hell out of here. But yeah, there's a lot of people from those old shows I'd love to see. Even Boston Rob's old ass. I wouldn't mind watching Boston Rob compete in a challenge setting because he was awesome in challenges on Survivor. He's a puzzle expert. In terms of casting for the other countries' spin-offs, I know as much as you guys do. I don't know if they're reaching out to reality stars. I just know that they're looking for people who are young, good-looking, fit, and ready to compete, which is the most basic thing you could say. Of course they're looking for that. It's the challenge. So what you should get from this video is that we're getting 4 challenge spinoffs this summer. One in the US airing on CBS, not MTV. We're getting Challenge All-Star Season 3 debuting May 11th. There's going to be a lot of content on this channel, And I think I'm going to do previews for every single player on my blog, maybe on the YouTube channel as well. Thank you for tuning in. And if you stayed this long, just thank you for being a listener. Have a great day.